The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, directed by Michael Chaves, who's also known for The Curse of La Llorona, which I didn't really enjoy, by the way, so I wasn't really looking forward to the fact that James Wan wasn't behind this project, but I was willing to give Michael a shot. And we have Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson once again reprising their roles as Ed and Lorraine Warren. So this time we follow Ed and Lorraine as they investigate one of the most bizarre cases of their careers after a cop stumbles upon a dazed, bloodied young man walking down the road. Accused of murder, the suspect claims that demonic possession as his defense, forcing the Warrens into a supernatural inquiry unlike anything they've ever seen before. This is also the 8th installment in the franchise and the 3rd installment for the main series. So as a quick fact, this film is actually based on the trial of Arnie Cheyenne Johnson, also known as the Devil Made Me Do It case, which is the first known court case in the United States in which the defense sought to prove innocence based upon the defendant's claims of demonic possession and denial of personal responsibility for the crime. And this actually happened on November 24th, 1981 in Brookfield, Connecticut. Also, by the way, if you weren't aware, Ed and Lorraine Warren were actually real people who were real paranormal investigators, but they were also allegedly scammers as well, but let's not talk about that. So this is actually a pretty good horror flick, and honestly, I wasn't sure if I'd be saying that. Once I finally saw the film, I wasn't too sure that would be my reaction, but I am pleasantly surprised. I mean, to some, I'm pretty sure this is probably going to be a meh type of horror film, but I think it's a pretty good horror film for the most part that does a pretty good job at tying in the historical events that it's based off of in real life. Now, it's not without its issues, of course, but it does a pretty decent job at delivering on the thrills and the horror and the jump scares, and I would actually say that it's part of a pretty decent lineup as far as films that we're gonna watch returning back to theaters for this year. And I still very much enjoy watching Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga in these roles. I mean, they just seem to play off of each other so well, and I think their on-screen presence as these characters, Ed and Lorraine Warren, just becomes more convincing with each installment of the series. And I love picking out a lot of the Easter eggs and callbacks from films like Nightmare on Elm Street and The Exorcist, and they did it in a very subtle way, and like a I'm just paying my respects type of way where it doesn't feel like a ripoff. And when they did it, I was like, oh, I see what you guys did there, and it was cool, you know, like I really liked it. But what I didn't like, though, if I am being completely honest, was that some moments felt a little too slow. I mean, mostly the pacing was fine, honestly, and there's not really many of these moments, and I really don't think that most audiences will feel the same way. That might just be me, I'm not quite too sure about that. Also, I saw where Chris Stuckman said that I think some other critics mentioned that the Conjuring films are sort of like junk food, or it's the junk food of horror films, and that honestly might be the most accurate description of these films that I've heard so far. That is completely true. Like they're fun. You can definitely go into theaters and get the scares and the jump scares you want. There's not a whole lot of substance to it. You know, it's a theater type of film. It's definitely a large cinema, big screen type of movie. You go there for a good time, jump scares with the friends, and you basically, you know, go on and forget it later pretty much. So I'm giving The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, a 7.5 out of 10. There's some great jump scares and horror movie moments that made this film perfect for returning to the big screen. I mean, just hearing people's reactions again, like, oh hell nah, and
run, bitch, run,
was just an awesome experience. And by the way, I was just joking about the last one. No one actually said,
run, bitch, run!
But that shit would have been pretty funny. Anyway, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It releases this Friday in theaters and on HBO Max. But there you have it. If you enjoyed the content, you know what to do. Thank you for watching.